Hi again. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm in the eighth grade now. I'm going to tell you about a sandwich we used to make when the kids would be hanging at my house. Westy taught me this sandwich. I think his sister just might be watching. Anyway, we made this sandwich. We toast the white bread. That's all we ever had in the house was white bread. When my dad come home, he would buy rye bread, but normally we just had white bread. And toast this bread, slice up the hot dog so it could fit on the bread. But we would put first mustard and mayonnaise, and then peanut butter and jelly, and then the hot dog and a slice of American cheese on top. Cover that up. Great sandwich, delicious. We used to go on, especially on Easter Sunday when everybody was dressed up after church, we used to go to Asbury Park Boardwalk. We had a boardwalk in Long Branch, which was very nice. Nice to hang out and go out on the pier, and there was arcade and a few kiddie rides. But Asbury Park had a much better boardwalk. They had more bigger rides, better rides, and we would go there on Easter. I remember one time I won. They had one of those wheels. You put your money down somewhere, and if it comes up on your number, you could win. I was so excited because I won. I won a can of coffee, and I was a kid. I didn't drink coffee, but I was so happy that I won, and I took the coffee, and I left my wallet and lost my wallet. But another time I remember I was with John and other friends, but me and John went on this ride. We were together in the car. It was kind of like a Ferris wheel, but it was smaller than a Ferris wheel, and the cars would go all the way around, upside down and around. And we went on that thing. It had a metal bar that strapped us in, and we were on the top of it and upside down, and the thing stopped. We were stuck up there for a while, yelling and screaming. We had this metal bar in our stomachs. I don't know if it broke or they were just doing that to give us a hard time, or they were letting people off, but it took a long time for this one, because usually when they let people off, it only takes a second. But we were like stuck there for a while and yelling and screaming, help, and everything. I remember that was scary. But we had a lot of fun in Asbury Park. There was the fun house thing where you went through the gorilla's mouth into it was dark in there, and that was fun. A tunnel of love they called it, but there was lots of fun things. The mirrors and it was a good time. It's always a good time going to Asbury. And when we were older, it got a little different, doing different things, of course. Anyway, they had a really nice old-fashioned carousel, and I think that might still be there. It might still be operating. I hope so, because they had beautiful painted ponies on there and all, and you grab the golden ring. If you grab the rings, you had to reach out, bend over, grab a ring. If you grab the golden ring, you got a free prize, a free ride. Also, the circus came every year, and that was so cool. The sideshow, they don't do those anymore. The bearded lady, the alligator lady had alligator like type skin. I remember her being really close up to that. Her skin was like greenish with scales on it and very dry looking. Um, the sword swallower and the fire eater and this thin man and the little people and the fat people and the giants and all of that stuff. Clyde Beatty Cole Brothers was I don't remember if it was the big top or the three ring. a lot of elephants and all that stuff, lions and everything. It was a great circus. But I also went to Ringling Brothers one time in New York City, and they were the opposite. Ringling Brothers, if they were three rings, then Clyde Beatty was one ring. And that might, if, or the opposite, I don't remember. But, and the trapeze and all that, the ladies riding on the elephants and all that stuff. Ringling Brothers was cool, and when I went to Ringling Brothers, that was awesome. I think I went with the Girl Scouts. Also went to the UN with the Girl Scouts, I think. But I saw at Ringling Brothers this one famous giant. He was like over 9 feet tall, really huge, a young guy, and I was right up in front of him. I remember his, like he took off his ring, and it was like, it looked like almost like a bracelet for me when I was about 10 years old or whatever. And I looked him up on the Google and saw pictures and to refresh my memory about him. And we would go, Fireman's Fair would happen every year. That was cool, but I don't think I went to that until I was in high school. I was older. My mother never brought me there. Most kids went with their parents, I guess, when they were younger. But when I was in high school, I went with my boyfriend, and that was a big event that happened every year. Fireman's Fair in West End, and then there was the similar thing with all the rides. The Catholic Church, Star of the Sea, would have a fair also. But like I say, I don't think I went until high school when I went with my friends, because my mother never brought me to any of that stuff. I don't know who took me to the circus. She might have. I don't remember. But glad I went. Anyway, feel sorry for those that didn't make it. I had a couple of guy friends that actually, one joined the circus, became a clown, and another one was talking about joining the circus, but I don't think he ever did. Okay, what else is next on my agenda here? Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of my girlfriends. Okay, I had one girlfriend, very close, like, bestie type friend, and can't say her name. Okay, I want to give her a name. Let's give her a name, Lucy. Okay. Okay, well, Lucy, she started having sex at age 11. She had a boyfriend who was 17 and was having regular sex at age 11. She was also she used to steal a lot, maybe a kleptomaniac, I don't know, but she used to steal a lot. And she told lies, like, all the time, like, for fun. She would make up these stories, crazy stories, and she would want me to go along with it and tell people, let's tell everybody that we did this. Let's tell everybody that we went there. Let's tell everybody that this happened. And I just never liked that. I liked her for other reasons. We got along in certain ways that was, good, I guess. But I didn't like all that stuff, and I never wanted to steal. I had another girlfriend that used to steal a lot, a couple of them actually. Mostly small stuff like makeup, earrings, candy bars. Those were the big hot items. Anyway, I stole a chunky bar once, and it was like peer pressure because my other girlfriends were stealing, and they were almost like daring me, or and I stole a chunky bar, and I felt so guilty and so scared to get caught. I never did it again. And I guess I can thank church for that. But also, I didn't have a need to steal, because if I wanted money to spend, I just asked my mom for, I want to go to the store. I need some money. Can you give me this or that? And she would hand me a 20, and I was never hurting for anything. So, I was hurting for nurturing and guidance from my mother, affection. She never told me she loved me. She never hugged me. Those kind of things I don't remember. But material things, I had it all. I had the clothes and anything I wanted to buy, she bought it for me. That's how she showed her love to me. It was nice, but the other stuff is more important, I believe. So that was my one girlfriend that I was pretty close to. And then I had another girlfriend that I wanted to tell about, my precious Lynn. She was throughout my life, from age about 10 I met her. She only lived 2 blocks from me. She stayed friends, stayed in contact all the way through until she died. She was in her mid 50s. She died of cancer. Very, very sad. We were really close. She was so much fun. I want to tell you about Lynn a little bit, how much fun she was. When we one time, her parents were not going to be home in the evening, and I went over there. She wanted to make cupcakes, so we made the cupcake batter, right? And then she was crazy. She was so much fun. So she started messing around, started flicking the batter at me, right? Next thing, she grabbed my head. Now, Lynn was bigger than me and stronger than me. She grabs my head and shoves it in the bowl. So I got batter dripping all over me, right? And, so we just, fighting back with her, and she was full of batter and I was full of batter, and we were just laughing and having a great time. No cupcakes were made, you know. And then we looked so silly with batter dripping all over us. We felt like we wanted to show somebody, because nobody would believe this if we just tell them. So we got to show somebody. So we walked to Becky's house, which was a few blocks away, dripping with batter. And she got a big kick out of it and everything. It was one of the crazy things. Another crazy thing I did with Lynn, one night I slept at her house, and she had these red, like Christmas pajamas, onesies, like, one piece. And she had 2 pairs. So I wore one, she wore one, and like all girls do when they're spending the night, you stay up as long as you can. And it was the middle of the night, and we decided to go dancing in the street in our jammies. And it was midnight. I remember we checked and it was like right at midnight. And we went to Atlantic Avenue, which was 2 blocks away, which was a fairly busy street, but in the middle of the night, nobody's there really. We danced down the middle of the street on the white broken line, middle of the street in our red jammies, singing loud at the top of our lungs, singing, dancing in the street. That's how crazy we were. And another thing about Lynn, she had a cousin who lived in Brooklyn, New York. And her cousin was a little ahead of us, same age, but because she lived in Brooklyn, she might have even been a year older, but I think she was the same age. Anyway, Lynn learned some things from her, those New York City girls. And she got this book from her cousin called Candy. I don't know if that book's still out, but it was a very explicit sex book, about Candy enjoying sex with all the details and everything. And that book circulated around our classroom. I think every girl in the class read that book. And it was, like I say, it was like a porn book, basically. And so that taught me a lot about sex. Not a good thing. Very young, like at 13 probably. So I guess, let's see, we only have 14 minutes gone, but I can't think about too much else that I might have forgot about. Trying to fill in everything. up through the eighth grade. We were starting to smoke. A lot of my friends and I were starting to smoke, and my mom didn't even care at that time. By the time I was 13, she didn't care. She was buying me cigarettes because they were cheap on base at Fort Monmouth, and she would buy the cartons. I started to like Marlboros, and my friend Lynn, she smoked Cools. So she would buy me a carton of Marlboros, and I would share them with most of my friends. Smoked Marlboros, but Lynn liked Cools, and my mom liked Lynn because Lynn would talk to her and listen to her and was able to understand her. So my mom liked Lynn, and she liked Lynn because Lynn was a beautiful girl. She had a really good body. She developed early, and she had great posture. My mother was always telling me to stand up straight like Lynn, walk like Lynn. Lynn has good body. Be like Lynn, you know. Anyway, she liked Lynn. She thought Lynn was a good role model for me because she stood up straight and she had big boobs, whatever, I don't know. But anyway, she liked Lynn, but Lynn was a nice person. Most people liked her. And anyway, I miss her so much. She was such a good friend, and she always kept in touch. She was the only friend from New Jersey that ever came to visit me in Atlanta when I lived there. Yeah, and I did go with her, me and Sherry. We went to visit her on Lynn's request when she was dying of cancer. Um, she came to Florida to wait it out. She refused chemo and radiation, and she came to Florida to just live it out. And she asked me to come and see her when it was towards the end, and it was so cool because when she picked me up at the airport, I came from Atlanta, right, to, I think it was probably Orlando Airport. And she picked me up at the airport, and we had invited Sharon, and she said she couldn't make it because Sharon lived in Kissimmee, still does, which was so close, and we were all friends, and we were together. The story I told about when we skated across the river, that was me and Lynn and Sherry and Patty. But anyway, Lynn picked me up at the airport. She's dying of cancer. We're driving along to her hotel, and said, too bad Sherry couldn't make it. It would have been so fun if she could have made it. Yeah, too bad. And we're driving along, and all of a sudden Sherry pops out from the back seat. She was covered up with something and popped out of the back seat. Surprise, she was there. So the three of us spend the night, and it was all good. Then Sherry left, and the next day Lynn did not feel good. She was really bad, and the last I saw her, it was very sad. She was very, very, very feeling bad, and couldn't even give me a good goodbye. But I loved her. She was one of my best friends ever. My other friend I'm saying goodbye to right now is that Michael, who I didn't mention this time, but I mentioned him a few times before in the last episode and all, because he just died about a year or two ago. But he was part of that time that we had so much fun together. He was part of our close group, and we had connected on Facebook, and I saw him at one reunion. He only went to one of our class reunions that I was at, and it was so nice to see him again. And he had become a born-again Christian, and I would see him. He got on Facebook after a while, and it was just so good to see him praising God all the time on Facebook. And then he died in his sleep one night, and I miss him on Facebook. And he was a part of that time, and that was some of the best times of my life, because after that, everything got worse and worse and worse, and that's coming up because I'll be going to high school, which was like a traumatic experience for me. Um, See you next time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit like. It'll make me feel good. Thank you.